Going into Netflix's Blood of Zeus, I was expecting it to be a typical telling of the Greek gods and that whole romp, but I low-key got sucked in. I genuinely said I need to see what happens next. It had just the right amount of intrigue in it to keep me invested that I honestly thought I was gonna struggle with. I'm not the most interested in Greek mythologies. Seriously, I just cannot find that interesting. It's okay, all this infidelity and shit, cool. Everyone's having sex with each other and people getting smited and gods interfering. It's just whatevs to me. But I just can't get enough of what it's done. It just kept me hooked with all the strong dramatics it gave me. Though it does suck that I can't really talk about it without spoiling it, so just for fair warning, this is a spoiler-heavy review all the way through. I suggest you go watch it yourself before watching this, but I should tell you, you're in for a treat.
I knew this day would come.
The series is done by Powerhouse Animation, the same people who did Sesmanos and Castlevania, and written by Charlie and Vlad Parlapanidis, that name, the duo who wrote Immortals and the American live-action Death Note movie. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that neither, but this managed to actually turn out a lot better here. The main premise is about a man being the bastard son of Zeus and being destined to lead humanity against an army of demons. It falls in with Greek mythology, which I do have to admit I am not the most adept at knowing a lot about, outside of Disney's Hercules, but the way it's done here, it does work to keep the interest alive. It's kinda the story of Hercules, the normal one, not the Disney version, with some liberties taken to shake things up. Hercules isn't even in this one, though he's mentioned, which throws me off a bit. This feels more story-driven as opposed to Powerhouse Animation's other works, which tend to be more about actually having strong characters with big personalities facing off against each other and just having to focus more on that aspect. And that tends to work a lot better. You get to have more memorable characters. This one, it opted more towards just having a very memorable story, which does allow this to stand on its own merits. You manage to get a lot of good characterization and dramatization from this, and the differences between this and the original managed to help this stand out way better. It does fall in line to a lot of those great epics. Honestly, it feels like a missing tale or like a missing reinterpretation of the Greek mythologies. And I think that's what managed to make this thing work so much better. It just manages to feel like this feels like that story that was missing in a sense. And I really appreciate that about this the most.
He was very proud of you.
Now, this series thrives more on its compelling storytelling rather than the charm of the characters. You can get some decent characters here, but I can't say they're that great or have the strongest personalities per se. You have Heron, who's our main protagonist, but his backstory is what drives forward everything. Him being the bastard son of Zeus and having to live in hiding from Hera to avoid her wrath for Zeus's infidelity calls for strong drama and also plays into another fact that Zeus is helping him train to fight off a demonic army. Though that kinda goes south once the demon army attacks, even though all of this is Zeus's fault. Seriously, kept his dick in his pants, none of this would have happened, but that's neither here nor there. I'll admit I can't find myself clinging to too many of these characters, but the epic feel of the drama keeps things pretty interesting, especially with the intense performances for certain scenes.
Heron, look forward. You're the son of Zeus.
The old man has done more for us than Zeus ever has.
You don't understand.
What's there to understand? When I broke my arm, who was there to set it? When we were starving, who always brought us a rabbit? He has nothing, but still helps us.
The drama plays even stronger when the leader of the demon army turns out to be Heron's long-lost bastard half-brother. His backstory is a bit tricky to summarize, and I feel you need to witness for yourself to get the proper grasp of everything, but it plays well into the intrigue of all of it. There's a lot of deep-seated lore to this series, with stuff like humans eating giant monster flesh and becoming demons, the gods' interference with the human world and being a big reason for all their troubles. You just look at a lot of these gods, mainly Zeus and Hera and them, and think, man, if y'all just could get to some family therapy or some shit, this all would have been avoided. Like, we wouldn't be having a lot of this problem. I mean, sure, the demon army would still be a thing, but at least you guys would, I don't know, be more focused on the mission. Like, Jesus, get it together. Like, the world is ending and we do not need to be focusing on your petty drama. Granted, Hera herself just keeps messing with the human world all because she's just pissed at Zeus, and it's like, you just look at everybody and think, wow, you guys are not in the right. Both of you are just awful people. Like, very awful people. But again, that's neither here nor there. You get some side characters that play into things like Alexia, who's there to help fight off the demon army. Most of the side characters help break up the monotony of the main plot, and it all comes to fruition by the end of the season. Hera overall is the main antagonist of the series, with her being pissed at Zeus for cheating on her multiple times. I mean, she's very much the villain in all of this because her actions lead to the end of the world, but honestly, you somewhat get where she's coming from. I mean, how would you feel if your man just kept cheating on you multiple times and you had to live with a bunch of the bastard children? You know, it's just like, Jesus Christ. You somewhat get what she's coming from, though. That's sort of what works with everyone here. They all have some motivation that propels them forward and makes it easy to get the story of all of it. You just manage to understand all character motivations and what's the driving force for them. And that's ultimately what this works for. Yeah, the characters aren't the strongest in their personalities. Like, I can't say, oh yeah, these are my favorites, because none of them really stand that strong in that sense. But I at least can say I want to keep following along to see what happens. And what does end up happening is a lot of betrayal, all the infidelity, and a lot of death. Like, it's the Greek mythology, so of course it's got to be filled to the brim with gritty deaths. Like, it does have the sense of, oh, people are gonna die and it's a matter of this is just consequence. Like, Zeus and Hera ultimately get their comeuppance. They end up dying by the end of everything. Hera is named a leader and hero pretty much because he put forth the bravery. But it is still a little like, damn. So many people had died all because one dude could not keep his dick in his pants. It's hilarious, to say the least. It's pretty fucking hilarious, but I digress. That's just how it is. It's honestly something that works for the series. The animation is that good old genuine Powerhouse Animation you all know and love. A strong sense of weight to the characters with gritty realism to the designs, though something does hold it back, and it's kind of by a wide margin. And that would have to be the sound effects. Some objects just don't have the right effects to them, and it can throw off how that object's supposed to sound, like this one scene. That was a stone pillar, but it sounds like Heron got hit with a Nerf ball. Doesn't help, that's also what happens with the punches as well. Like, they just have no sense of weight or impact to them. They feel so soft. And it kind of leaves you wondering, are they getting hurt or not? Because it doesn't feel like they are. It feels like just a soft tap to them. Really, that's just something that just takes you out of the moment. Also, there can be points when the music is just kind of overbearing and taking over the dialogue, and it makes it feel like something's wrong on your end with the audio. You constantly feel like, is my TV low? Why do they sound so low? Why is the music like this bombastic orchestra just overtaking everything? It just really throws you off. It's possible the pandemic might have set the crew back in terms of their post-production, so maybe that's why some sound effects just aren't hitting. I don't know. Overall, it's amazing animation that plays into the epic scale of the story. You get those menacing Greek mythological creatures that look very disturbing and just cool, and also that good old-fashioned blood and gore we all crave. This is honestly a great Greek epic with a strong sense of dramatization. The characters are given the proper time to set them up motivation-wise so you can understand why they do a lot of the things they do. The animation looks amazing and plays into that grand epicness a story like this needs. The audio issues can weigh it down and can take you out of the moment sometimes, but it's not too much of a problem that you can't get any enjoyment out of it. I was able to actually really get sucked into this story and want to find out what's going to happen next. I really wanted to see what's the next episode going to be like, what's going to happen. Like, the stakes kept raising with each new episode, and that's one thing that really helps push this series through. For those that love Greek mythos but want a different spin on it, it is a definite must watch. But that's just a thought.